Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Adda. I have with me Nikhil. To all our viewers who've just joined in, and Nikhil, yesterday we had a cracker of a game. India
Yeah.
losing to Pakistan for the first time in over 12 World Cup matches. So, firstly,
Yeah.
without any further ado, I would like to address that. That how are you feeling this morning? Did you break any televisions? Did you get any news of television breaking in your area?
No, that's the perks of being old now, 30. So I've seen a lot of good games for India, so I think it's okay. They lost to a better side on their day, and it wasn't a fluke performance from Pakistan. We know they were capable of doing that. So I think it's okay because I have always loved the game more. I think winning and losing is part of the game. Yes, losing to Pakistan may not be part of the game for many, but maybe times changed.
Time has definitely changed.
Yeah.
This is like the new Pakistan, revamped Pakistan, where we can
Yeah.
see them competing against the mighty Indians. But without wasting any further time, let's move on to the match today. It's Afghanistan taking on Scotland. Now, Afghanistan, the team that has come up the ranks, Nikhil, in the last few years. I think in the last 5 years, they've been this side that has really transformed and flourished in cricket. Even though they've had their fair share of problems in the red ball, they are definitely a supreme side when it comes to white ball cricket, and especially the shortest format of the game.
Yeah, agree. I think the one great thing with all these sites that are not obviously in the top eight is they play a lot of T20s. And because
Yeah,
that's one format that they keep playing day in, day out, they're getting better at it in terms of skills. I mean, Afghanistan smashed West Indies in the warm up game of this particular tournament as well.
yes,
So,
exactly.
of course, teams are not going to take them lightly. And the most interesting bit about today's game is this game is now at Sharjah, the Sharjah of yesterday, I hope, and not of the previous tournament, because yesterday we saw a lot of runs being scored. If that is the case, I think we are in for a very great game, despite the two sides not having that great names that many people will know, but it should be a good game.
Absolutely. And not wasting any further time, let's move on to the first segment, Nikhil. It is
Yeah.
the pick your fantasy 11. And as you are the expert here, you have to pick 11 players. And hopefully, you will make the best playing 11 possible.
Yes, yes. I think we had a decent start yesterday, with especially the Sri Lanka game,
Absolutely.
India game. India game, the less talk, the better. But yes, let's go.
आगे
Let's
बढ़ो,
go with the
आगे बढ़ो.
Afghanistan. Yes, yes, yes. Let's move on. Yes, Afghanistan, Scotland. I think wicket keeping section is where I think the game lies today, because Matthew Cross is the guy that I have picked purely on form. But there is
Okay.
one guy, Mohammad Shehzad, who's an MS fan. He has some very good records, against Scotland. But all of that has come when he's batted first. So if
Right.
Afghanistan are batting first, I think probably Shehzad might be a better pick. So please ensure at the time of the toss you see those changes in terms of if there are any changes in teams, and also the pitch. I know the pitch is
Right.
going to play a key role. If it's like yesterday, then you will want to pack more batsmen and all-rounders. But if it's the dry surface, low surface, then you have to pack more all-rounders and bowlers. So having that address that. So that's the wicket-keeping section. Coming to the batting section, from Afghanistan, I have Najibullah Zadran and also
Zadran.
Hazratullah Zazai. And
What a
Hazratullah
player.
Zazai is a very great whacker, if you want to call him that. When he gets his hitting range in form, he can take on any bowling attack. And
He has,
of
Nikhil,
course,
he has scored six sixes, right? He has scored six sixes in a T10
yes,
game
yes.
on this very ground, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes. So he will have very fond memories. And again, the only challenge that I feel for Afghanistan today is going to be the pace attack for Scotland. But then we'll get to that in some time. For now, as I said, one is the key batter, that is Hasitullah Zazai at the top of the order. And dropping openers is always risky, which is why I've also taken George Munsey from Scotland. They
Right.
come off, you are very far behind in the game. Like we saw yesterday, in one game, the openers did not come off, but the other they did. So that is that is always the key with fantasy. And
Yes.
Najibullah Zadran is my kind of a differential pick, because last time he played Scotland, he hit a 21 ball 37, if I'm not wrong. And he's a
Hmm.
guy, if Afghanistan do lose early wickets, he's the guy who can then hold the innings together for them. So I think that is one spot where you can make your changes if you want to. So that is the batting section done. Coming to the all-rounder section, where I think there will be a lot of fight today because there are a lot of very good options. But I have gone with three known performers. Of course, Richie Barrington makes to my side purely, even though he's only batting, but he's the top run scorer for Scotland. And yes, he will be challenged against Rashid Khan and Mujib, but I expect
Yeah,
the form to help him, counter them. And then we have Chris Greaves, the hero of the match that we saw earlier in the tournament. He can bowl leg spin, and if the pitch is assisting him, remember he can hit the ball well as well. We saw that,
he can it. Yeah, he can.
yeah, we saw that too. So those two are my picks from Scotland, and yes, the newly appointed captain for Afghanistan, that is Mohammad Nami. Yes, the guy who
What a
bowls
bowler.
very good off spin. And yes, I do have a doubt for spin in terms of what impact Dew has, which I want you to shed some light on once we are done with this 11 in the bowling session, because I think Sharjah might still favor the bowling a bit. So here's where I said that Scotland's new ball bowlers have been in very great form. Joshua Davey
Yeah,
in particular has been taking wickets for fun, and no surprises that I've made him my vice captain for this game. And then I have Sayan Sharif because he is the guy who bowls both like Davey at the top and in the death overs.
in
And
the
we
death overs.
talked
Yeah,
yesterday that was people tend to get wickets no matter whatever they bowl, unless it's India yesterday. Sorry, those puns. I'm not stopping. Uh,
yes, yes, it's
going
okay.
to going to the going to the Afghanistan side, I have the two premier spinners for them in Rashid Khan and Mujibur Rahman. Uh, Here is where I want to shed some light on what impact Dew has on them, because in Sharjah we expect the Dew to come in the second innings. So this is a team where I feel if Afghanistan are bowling first, Rashid and Mujib will be very much into the game. But just your thoughts on how much impact Dew has, because now that we've seen this 11, my captain is also a spinner in Rashid Khan.
Yeah. So basically, from what I know, Nikhil, that when you play in this period of the year, there is a bit of dew that is there for help. And when you play in Dubai and Sharjah and places where there is a lot of humidity and heat, there's a chance that in the second innings, probably 10 overs into the second innings, there'll be much more dew than it was on the first ball of the day. So that could be a talking point, and that could be that the change between the two sides. But given the
Yes.
fact that Afghanistan have these big stalwarts, these three spinners are, I think, they're the three trio that they really need. Like the four quadruple that India had at one
Yeah.
point. I think these
Yes.
are the three that they really need, and they are,
Yes.
going to be coming up and performing really well. So I think Afghanistan have the upper hand when it comes to the spin department for sure.
Yeah, again, the point of mentioning the dew was because it is a very critical factor in fantasy cricket. We have to know the conditions well, like we saw in the game yesterday. Batting first, both teams struggled to get to a par score, and the chasing team won because they knew the score, and the
Yeah.
dew obviously helped Pakistan a lot. So please keep that in mind when you see, if you see Afghanistan are bowling second, you have to know they will be a bit troubled with the dew. So please make those changes accordingly. And yes, that's the 11 for us for today.
A fantastic 11, Nikhil.
Yeah,
Rashid Khan captain. I don't think people have any questions about that because this guy can do everything. He's a great batsman.
yeah.
He's a brilliant leg spinner. I must say he's a really quick leg spinner and he's a brilliant
Yeah,
fielder as well on the boundaries. So
yeah,
a great pick to have. And just one thing in my mind that do you think that on pitches like these where there is a lot of help for spinners, but the fact that the boundaries are really short, can we add more batsmen when it comes to such grounds where the dynamics or the circumference is so small that even a mistimed shot can go out of the park rather than filling in a lot of bowlers?
yeah. Again, it's one of a tricky calls in terms of how you want to go about a team. Again, like I said, I've taken the informed guys in the batting department. Yes, one guy that I've taken a risk on is Najibullah. You have options in Kyle Coetzer. You have Callum McLeod. Callum McLeod smashed Rashid Khan for 49 in 31 balls in the one ODI they played in recent past. So Callum McLeod could be a very interesting differential pick as well. So again, as you rightly said, batsmen can hit sixes on a short ground, but I am as a person I favor bowlers far more. So I feel that the bowler needs one wicket. See, the batsman has to
Yes,
hit at least 20-25 runs to give you 30-35 points. The bowler
very
has
well
to take
said
one
actually.
wicket. The bowler has to take one wicket in 24 balls. So the bowler just has far more chance of getting a good return. So yeah, that's why I just go side with the bowlers a bit more.
Fantastic. So, Nikhil,
Yeah,
moving on to the second segment now.
yeah,
That is pick your sports Adda's fantasy. And that
yeah,
is you have to pick five players, two batters, two bowlers, and one all rounder. I mean, I know it's going to be
yeah,
very difficult for you given that
yeah.
there are such great players in these two sides and a lot of points to be points at stake. But if you had to just pick five out of these 11, who would they be?
Yes, it's that time of the show where we have to eliminate six people. So sorry to those guys who are going out. I'll go with my five picks that are there. So sorry for us. My batsmen in this for this game are George Munce and Rishi Barrington. Again, Munce is the guy in form, far more reliable. Rishi Barrington has been the top scorer, so he is my second batsman. For Afghanistan, because as you said, their strength is the spin department. So Rashid Khan, because he's an all-rounder in sports under
Of
fantasy, he
course,
is a definite pick. There is
has
no
to.
brainer there. And I've taken one from Afghanistan and one from Scotland. That is Josh Davy and Mujibur Rahman. Again, I'll suggest you to make these changes after the toss, as we discussed. You could play a very big role. So,
Right.
as of now, I've taken strike bowlers. Again, as I keep saying that bowlers. I favor the bowlers because I think they are likely to give me more returns, which is why I have three primary bowlers and only two batsmen. So hopefully they do the trick for me today.
They will, they sure will, because this side looks really crisp. And given the fact that Rashid Khan is your captain, I think even
Yeah.
if I would talk to a Scotland player at the moment, Barrington or someone, he too would have Rashid Khan in his fantasy team because that's the impact that he brings to the game.
Yes.
So
True.
absolutely fantastic this side that you've made. So Nikhil, now
Yeah.
finally to the last segment of the show, that is picking the man of the match. Now you've got 100 coins. You can put your money on any player you want in the multiples of 10. So it's up to you who would those players be, man of the match or men of the match, if you had to pick a few.
Yes, it's the man of the match predictor time. It's a tough one. There are a lot of match winners in these particular two sides, but again, I've gone on form, on data, and Rashid Khan is my first choice. As I usually put 40 coins on my main man, that is Rashid Khan. He'll contribute both
Nice.
with the bat ball, that helicopter shot. I'm waiting for him to unfurl that in
Yes.
the Super 12s. So he's my first pick. Uh, I've taken a differential pick in terms of George Munce also as as my next pick in terms with 20 points because he's the guy from he's
Interesting.
been getting starts. You know that big knock is due, and given the short boundaries, as you rightly said, he plays a lot of sweeps and reverse sweeps. If he can get
Right.
that in versus Mujib and Rashid, he'll set the tone for his side. So George Munce is my next pick. So to counter George Munce, I have Mujibur Rahman with 20 coins as my next possible contender. So you see, that's
Fantastic.
a way of averting a loss in terms of hopefully one of them can do the trick for you because Mujib will bowl in the power play, as we know
He
he's
will.
very good in that phase. So that those are the three obvious picks. And the last pick, as I said in the early part of the show, I'm going with Mohammad Shehzad. Especially if he bat first, I'm putting 20 coins on him to again come good. He has, I think, 9 scores of over 30 against Scotland
Oh,
while batting first, and he's averaging 50 against Scotland. But as I said, majority of them have come while batting first. So please keep that in mind. And as I said, the only trouble will be the Pacers early on. But at Sharjah, if these guys get in, Zazai, Gurbaz, and Shehzad, it
havoc.
could be fireworks. Yes, it could be fireworks. Yeah.
Absolutely. And given that these players have played each other so many times, I was
Yeah.
living in the dark at the moment, thinking that how much they must have seen of each other. But no, they've played a lot of cricket against each other, and familiar faces for each other. So it's going to be a fantastic
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah.
brilliant pick. Man of the match is set. Rashid Khan, Mujib, Shehzad, Munsi. So a great lineup we have here. To all the
Yes.
fans and viewers who are just watching in, you all can too predict your man of the match
Yeah.
because our expert has never been wrong, and I really want him to be wrong once. Because India has lost, so anything can happen in this world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, and please follow us on our social media handles. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So please hit the like button and follow us so that you can get live updates of however things are going around in cricket. So Nikhil, finally, if you have to predict a winner, you've made a Afghanistan dominated, fantasy
Yeah.
side. But if you had to pick the winner, who would it be, and why do you think that this team would win?
I think Afghanistan, having played a lot of cricket in this particular region, is why I feel they are the favourites to win. Again, as I said, my only worry is the Scotland's pace attack. If they can hit their lengths, then they'll set the game up for their side. But again, I'm going with form in terms of Afghanistan's familiarity with the conditions. And given
Right.
Scotland could find trouble, especially if Afghanistan bowl first. Again, I think conditions will play a massive part. But yeah, I'll stick with Afghanistan to come good. But yes, I won't rule out Scotland.
It's a big game. Okay, the winner
Yeah,
takes it all, and in these tournaments, the first game actually sets the tone for the whole tournament. Don't you think that the
true.
first game, whoever wins, they are on a much more, on a high for the whole
Yeah.
tournament. So it's going to be a big game. So do you think that the toss is going to be very conducive, and batting first could be tricky here because it could play and it could backfire you at times?
Situations are going to be very, very critical. At times, we've seen even if dew comes about, if the pitch is getting slower, the batting still remains that much harder. It's not like Dubai where it just becomes a road in the second inning. So I think the conditions will be a lot more favorable in Dubai for the teams chasing side, but in Sharjah, again, I think Bangladesh yesterday could have done things a lot more in better. They would have backed their key bowlers that
Right.
rather than bowling the part timers. So again, you have to be at your best. And again, as I said, toss cannot be an excuse to not win. You have to win in all conditions to win a world tournament.
Absolutely
So
true.
hopefully teams can do that, and hopefully the best team wins on the day, like yesterday.
Absolutely. So I think I'm only getting puns from you, and this
Yeah,
show is not just about fantasy team. It's about who has the
yeah,
better one-liner. So thank you,
yeah,
Nikhil, for those witty one-liners on this show. But everything said and done. Thank you for joining with
yeah,
me, Nikhil. We've had a great 11 side. We've had a great fantasy fireside side for the Sports Adda Fantasy, and we've already
yeah,
picked the man of the match for the game.
yeah,
We really think both of us here are on the same page that Afghanistan are
yeah,
the far superior side and the much more dominating
yeah,
side when it comes to this format. So it's going to be a brilliant game. It's an amazing game on
yeah,
our hands. Scotland have worked hard and reached at a certain stage that they've earned that respect after
yeah,
beating the
for
bigger
sure.
teams in the
Yeah,
qualifiers for sure. Yes. So it's going to be a great game. Thank you, Nikhil, for joining with me. I'll see you tomorrow with more tips, tricks, and predictions. So please follow
yeah.
us for the best of it. And this was the Fantasy Adda.
Yes. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great game. Ta-ta.